just over a week since the announcement of Canada's federal election, and there's already heavy drama in the riding of Windsor-Tecumseh-Lakeshore. Mark McKenzie is no longer running for the Conservatives. That's according to the federal Tory party, who are describing McKenzie's past comments as clearly unacceptable. Those comments, as first reported by CTV News, were in a comedy podcast episode from February 2022. On the Mark and Chris podcast, McKenzie can be heard saying he's in favor of the death penalty, laughing about public hangings and the electric chair, and suggesting Justin Trudeau as someone deserving such a sentence. McKenzie's candidacy was already under some criticism because he was appointed by the Conservative Party, bypassing the normal voting process for party candidates. His loss of the candidacy came just as suddenly, with a party spokesperson emailing media this morning, just 12 hours after McKenzie appeared at a campaign event. McKenzie did not respond to CBC Windsor's request for comment, but Chris Talmy, who was McKenzie's co-host on the podcast, says their dialogue was intended to be humorous.
Throw a little comedy in there. If you find it funny, you find it funny. If you didn't, you didn't. Obviously, in hindsight, a lot of people have not found that funny. In today's political climate, not surprised. Words have consequences. So again, if people want to hold him to a standard and don't believe he should represent Windsor-Tecumseh-Lakeshore or the Conservative Party, that's up to them. For the most part, the podcast was comedy and joking. Was he serious at the time? You'd have to ask him specifically, but in my mind, I was never serious on that podcast.
University of Windsor political science professor Lydia Miljan says it's surprising this wasn't found out sooner.
It's interesting that he was able to get through the vetting process without this coming to light. He continues to be a Windsor City Councillor, so I think that the vetting's probably not as rigorous for somebody who's well known as opposed to somebody who doesn't have a public profile.
It's not yet clear who will be replacing McKenzie as a Conservative candidate for Windsor-Tecumseh-Lakeshore. As of noon on April 1st, McKenzie's name was still on the Elections Canada website. The party has until April 7th to nominate a new candidate. Dalson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.